It's very important for us to have as many women as we can. It's important to have a diverse conference. But bad policy coming out of the Democrats' diverse conference is still going to be bad policy. We as Republicans are never going to be in a situation where we are trying to segment women and say they only can be concerned about certain issues.
Wyoming Congresswoman Liz Cheney, House GOP conference chair, on how Republicans will try to connect with women voters in the future. There will be just 13 Republican women in the House come January. That's a sharp drop from those serving now and the lowest number since 1994. I'm joined now by Anna Palmer. She's Political Playbook co-author and host of the Women Rule podcast, which I've been on and I loved. I want to read you this from Elise Stefanik. She's a young Republican woman from upstate New York. She was at the conference the other day, and she said to the group, "Take a look around. This is not reflective of the American public. We were having problems with women voters before that." 3 Republican women lost their races in this midterm election: Mimi Walters, Karen Handel, and Barbara Comstock. Of course, Kristi Noem did get elected governor of South Dakota, so there was upward movement there. Do the Republicans realize they have a problem?
I think they do. I've talked to a lot of operatives over the last week saying, guys, this was supposed to be the year of the woman, the wave, and it really was a blue wave of women. It wasn't a Republican wave, and they're trying to kind of assess what to do about it. I think they've struggled for at least the half dozen years trying to figure out recruitment, how to get women to step up, and they have just not been able, like Democrats, to really figure out what the way forward.
Well, to Congresswoman Cheney's point, that Republicans typically have said, look, we just want the best person for the job, and we just want to have good policy, and it doesn't matter where it's coming from. But I think to Elise Stefanik's point is that if you look at the long-term future of the party, that we have to figure this out. What are the Democrats doing differently, aside from the policy areas, that give them these candidates that can step up, run for office, raise the money, and then win?
Yeah, I think there's 2 things in particular. One, they have a pipeline. They have an infrastructure where if there's women who become activists, let's say after President Trump's inauguration, there were a lot of Democrats on the left, liberals, women that had never been involved in politics, and they said, I want to raise my hand. There's Emily's List. There's a lot of other outside groups that train them how to do the basic blocking and tackling of running a campaign.
They've been doing that for decades?
Yes, absolutely.
So they have a pipeline.
It's that, and number 2, it really is, as you said, money. Money is the hardest thing. Women hate asking for it. It's most politicians in general, male or female, hate asking for it. But you have to have it in order to run a race. And Republicans have really fallen behind on the online money game.
And so Elise Stefanik said she's not going to do the recruitment so much. She's going to focus on helping women win in their primaries, because that had been a problem. I also want to mention Stacey Abrams. Take a listen to her. She's just lost the governor's race in Georgia. Take a listen to what she said.
I'm going to spend the next year as a private citizen, but I do indeed intend to run for office again. I'm not sure for what, and I am not exactly certain when. I need to take a nap, but once I do, I'm planning to get back into the ring.
I wanted to ask you about that. Women who take the plunge and they run for office, if they lose, are they more or less likely to run again?
I don't know the exact statistics, but I think for all of us, if you raise your hand and it gets swatted down, you're less likely to go for it again. So I think that's probably inherent to most people in general. But certainly one of the things that a lot of operatives would tell you, Republican or Democrat, if you've done it once, you know what it takes. Get up there, do it again.
Right. And then you also know how to pick up that phone and ask for money, because I understand that was a big frustration with a lot of members or candidates this time around, that there was just so much money involved, and the Republicans were at a real deficit financially.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're a first-time candidate, you don't have that network, right? You're not used to asking your parents, your uncle, your cousin for $20, $50, much less the big checks that you really need from big Republican donors.
Anybody exciting we should be listening to on the Women Rule podcast this week?
Yeah, absolutely. This week, we just had Kim Davis, who runs the NHL, the hockey league's effort in terms of getting more diverse audience. And this week we have Gazelle Hashemian, who is a woman private venture capitalist.
All right. Well, very exciting. That's nice diversity. Of course, not just politics, but you can hear from all sorts of women, successful women, on your podcast.
Absolutely.
Anna Palmer, thank you.
Thanks.
President Trump weighing in on the role the Saudi crown